was going to hold your hand, but they're sticky because I was eating raisins. Welcome to the Holy Hour. I'm Amelia Sampson.
And I'm Liz Ball.
Hey.
It is so fucking cold today.
It really is.
I walked out to like run some errands this morning and I was like, why is it cold? And then the earth was like, bitch, it's February.
Yeah.
I was like,
for whatever
fine.
reason, Seattle like gets in its head that it needs to be the coldest in February. Like that's when all the
sun was
snowmageddons
out. So I was just really catfished today.
It was such a pretty day today, but yeah, it was
sun's
freezing.
out.
When I opened the door when you got here, I was like, what happened?
Hissing at the weather.
Yeah.
I do that
also
often.
the sun too. Like,
I love the sun.
I do
Big
too,
fan.
but my eyes and my skin are just not used to seeing it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before I forget, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at The Holy Hour. We are now not shadow banned on TikTok. Also, subscribe to us on Patreon. Let me tell you why. We're going down to 1 tier. We will have announced it by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah, we're going down to 1 tier just based off of some of the stuff we've talked about with our network in terms of like trying to build a larger audience first.
Yeah.
So in that instance, we're going to start putting full videos of our podcast on YouTube. And that's like the biggest perk of being a patron. So if we're like giving that perk away for free, you know, we're not going to screw anyone over.
Right. So it's just going to be the lowest tier.
Yeah. But we are working on like adding in other content and maybe like a new tier where we have exclusive episodes.
Hell yeah.
We'll let you know.
We'll figure it out.
You'll be the first to know.
But on that first tier, you still do get early access to episodes.
Yeah, you'll still get early access.
Ad-free episodes too, which is probably the biggest perk because I know a lot of people don't like listening to the ads. There are no ads on Patreon. So that'll probably be around $5 is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
So just wanted to give you that little update. Also join our Discord. We still see people joining it every so often, and they're still doing movie nights, and everyone is so fucking nice.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah. Also, sorry for those of you if you were listening and heard an ad like mid-sentence. We're having some issues like dropping our ads in. So we're trying to fix that. So hopefully it'll be fixed this week.
Growing pains. We're working on it.
Yeah. But thanks for sticking with us.
I was taking a nap before you came over, and this is actually a good intro into what we want to talk about today. And I realized Meows.
I don't know what you're about to tell me.
Meows decides that she wants to step exclusively on my tits when I'm PMSing.
Yep.
And it hurts like a bitch.
Cats have like this sixth sense of like where they're just gonna step on like the most uncomfortable part on your titties.
Yeah. Why?
Every cat I've had.
It doesn't make any
and then
sense.
they stand there.
Yes. She'll either stand there or she'll move off, but then just keep one foot just planted really sturdy on my boob.
Do you know it hurts?
She must.
They have to know. They have to know.
They have to. But I mean, she's like just conniving enough that I'm certain that she knows.
My cats do that too. So it's just every cat I've ever had just knows. I'm gonna step and stay standing. I'm gonna put all my weight on this one paw.
Yeah.
On the most tender part of your boob.
It doesn't make any sense.
And then when you're PMSing, it hurts even more.
Yes.
That's how I know I'm gonna get my period because my boobs hurt.
Yeah.
But as Amelia said, we're having a full, unfiltered discussion about titties today.
Hell yeah.
Chi-chis.
Tatas.
I was listening to the podcast Obsessed, and they call them I-Tanyas, and I love that.
I love that
so
much.
I'm going to start calling mine I-Tanyas.
That is amazing.
It's just like, I can't think of a better nickname for boobs.
Well, let's name all of the nicknames for boobs we can think of.
Okay.
Titties.
I already said Chi-chis, I-Tanyas.
Tatas. Boobies.
Mama Milkies. Juggernauts.
Jugs. Bazookas.
Ooh, bazookas. That's a good melons.
Melons. Yeah, that's a good one too. Mosquito bites for some of us itty bitty titty committees.
Knockers.
Knockers. That's a good one. I love knockers. God, there's just
Bazingas.
so many.
Did you already say that?
I said bazingas. Oh, I said bazoogas. Bazingas is a different one.
Bazingas. That feels. What show do they say bazinga on?
The Big Bang Theory, but they say. Oh, it's not that. It's something like that.
I thought it was like one of their catchphrases.
And I don't think it's bazinga. Maybe it is. But yeah, it actually might be.
Bazoinkers. I don't know. Those are all the names I can think of right now.
You know what's interesting is there are so many nicknames for boobs, but there's only one for vaginas, like that are used like frequently, which is pussy. There's like no other.
I was watching Bachelor in Paradise over the summer, and Tia calls hers her China pot. And Mr. Liz hated that. He was like, make her stop saying it. I was like, honestly, I'm kind of like, I think it's really funny now. I want to call mine a China pot.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because you never say like any of the other phrases.
No.
Like in bed. Like you're not going to call it your Pikachu in bed. One of my friends always calls it her Pikachu. She's like, you could see my Pikachu through this.
That's amazing. My mom used to call mine my Susie when I was a kid.
Susie.
And every time I meet a Susie, I'm like, oh, do you know it's what you call a vagina? But I think that was hilarious. Just my mom.
My vagina's name is Susie, actually.
Yeah.
So I've known her my whole life.
Yeah. Wow. I have a Susie. We go way back.
I don't think I haven't named my vagina.
Mrs. Tinkle is mine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've gone over that. Still looking for Mr. Tinkle.
Well, we know her name now is Susie Tinkle.
Susan is her government name.
Susan Tinkle. How is Suze these days? How's she doing?
She's hanging in there.
Yeah, let's talk about I, Tanya's.
All right, take it away.
I was just thinking, like, we haven't had a dedicated conversation about chi-chis.
I love a good cha-cha conversation.
And I've been thinking about mine a lot lately. So, I have always had big boobs, like, forever. And I have gone back and forth a lot between hating them and loving them.
Wow.
My mom always made me feel really like I needed to keep them covered all the time. And then we have like these family friends, and the wife is from Brazil, and she's like, she's young, like let her have fun. And I was like, you know what? She's right.
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
I'm going to let my titties out.
Fuck yeah.
And not even for the boys. It's for the girls.
Free the nipple. Oh yeah, for the girls.
Tits out for the girls.
100% all day.
And I don't know. I specifically am remembering this time in middle school. When I was in 7th grade, I was on what are those little leadership committees called? Oh,
ASB?
No, there's like a actual thing for it.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, yes.
You know, you have like the little president and stuff.
We call that ASB, but there's I know the name you're thinking of.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I did that. Student council. There we go. I was on student council.
Okay, got it.
And I was just like part of the general student council. I don't have like a position or anything, but I was helping with the 8th grade picnic. So as a 7th grader, I was helping with the 8th grade picnic, which was really fun because you like get to like leave for the day and go to the pool, and just helping like coordinate everything, like getting pizza and all that stuff. And I was in like long shorts, because you know how like that was a thing, that was a look. The Bermuda shorts, that's what they're called. I had several pairs from Old Navy.
Damn. Okay, you don't need to brag.
just like practicing my like butch look. And then I was wearing a bikini top, and as a 7th grade, the only 7th grader with boobs, they were probably like a large B or C at that point. Yeah. So no one has tits besides me. And not even the 8th graders. And then my teacher had like forgotten something, and she was like running the whole thing, and she was like, you need to, like, we're supposed to hand these out right now. Like, please run back to the school literally across the street, like, and go pick these up from my classroom. Here are my keys. And then she was like, just go as fast as you can. And we didn't have time to, like, go to our lockers and, like, put our clothes on. So we ran over there in our swimsuits and shorts. And we walked by my classroom, like, that I was supposed to be in, that I was missing for this event. And all of the boys stood up and swarmed the door. And it was like me and maybe 2 other girls. And we were like, oh, fuck. And we booked it back to the pool. And the people who got in trouble were the girls.
Ugh, of course it was.
The teacher in that class was so mad at the girls and not at the boys for their behavior. Like, it was acceptable for them to, like, cause a ruckus and be like, like a cartoon character, like, awooga.
Well, yeah.
And not for me to just, like,
exist.
be doing something that my teacher asked me to go do.
Yeah.
So
that's why, like, you couldn't, like, show your shoulders in school. It was like so you wouldn't, like, distract the boys. It had
with
nothing
my
to do with,
shoulder.
Like, yeah, right. Like, you're showing too much shoulder there, girl.
Literally, no one thinks. I don't think it was for the boys. I think it was for the fucking creepy ass teachers.
Oh shit! Which a lot of the time are men.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's really.
I've never met a guy who's been like, "Damn, girl, let me see those shoulders."
Right. And, like, I just don't. It doesn't make any fucking sense, and that is always the case. That is always the case, that it's like, it's the person that's being oogled at's responsibility for being oogled at.
Yeah. It's
like the, well, what were you wearing conversation that, like, we always have, you know? It's awful.
And I'm 13.
It's fucked up.
I'm 13, so I'm not even, like, thinking about that. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna walk by my class that I'm missing and flex on them.
Right.
And then something else happened. They're like, oh, awooga. And so I've had just kind of a long journey with my boobs of, like, always feeling ashamed of them because they're big. And also, like, it does suck that Republican men are like, wow, I love big titties, you know?
I didn't know that was a thing that Republican men do.
Yeah, they're tit men. And boob men are, like, inherently problematic, and that's the only thing I will say about it. If you know, you know. The girls who get it, get it.
And the girls who don't.
Yeah.
I don't, now that I'm thinking of it, I don't think I know any boob men. Like, actually.
Yeah, I don't think, I think
I also don't really know any ass men anymore. I think that's kind of like a thing of the past.
I think most guys are just happy to be there.
Totally. That question, like, are you a boob guy or an ass guy? Every guy that I've talked to is like, I don't know. I kind of like it all.
Yeah. They're like, it's just cool that I get to be here.
Right. Like, thank you for inviting me.
See you naked.
Yeah. This is awesome. Regardless.
I think that's how everyone feels.
Yeah.
In general. Like, you get to, like, maybe guys who are, like, younger, like, early 20s or teens are like, oh yeah, I'm such an ass guy. But I was dating a guy who I was like, I can't remember why we were discussing it, but I was like, okay, well, which one are you? And he's like, I actually am not, like, really either of those. Like, I love legs. Like, he likes a good set of legs. And I was like, huh, I have a good set of legs, I would say.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone has something they're a little bit more like.
Right, because we're more than just boobs and an ass.
Yeah. I also have nice arms.
I like my collarbone.
See, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, what do I like about myself? Like,
see, the thing that I was thinking about that a lot. It's like people are always like, oh, yeah, I really love, like, my nose, da da da. You know, like, I really like just kind of how everything works together on me.
I love that.
You know, because I can't figure out whenever people ask, what do you like about yourself? And I can't think of a thing. I'm like, that's really sad.
Together.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I can't figure, like, I like my lips and I like my collarbones. That's really, like, the only things that I can call out in isolation.
I like my eyes.
Yeah.
And my eyebrows.
Hell yeah.
And I don't really know if I like much else.
I think,
not to be sad about it.
No, I mean, but It's like
I'm starting to really like my arms because they're getting more muscular.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so addictive when you start to see like the payoff of like a certain kind of workout.
Mr. Liz always makes me flex.
Hell yeah.
He's like, flex for me. And I'm like, wait, why do you want to see it? He's like, it's exciting.
Oh, we love a supportive man.
And then if I'm like changing or if we're like hooking up, he'll compliment my stomach, which I've never felt confident about. Oh. So when I'm feeling gross, it's like he somehow has a sixth sense. And he's like, you look so hot right now. Like, your abs look amazing. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's the fucking best.
I paid a lot of money for them.
And you worked really fucking hard for them.
Yeah, that's true. I do work hard for them.
My legs have always been my biggest insecurity, even as a kid, just because like I got hips and thighs before like anybody else did. Like how your boobs were growing up. I got hips in 6th grade and I got like super bullied for them.
Well, and then that's like before like having curves down here were like was like a thing. Right. You know?
Yeah. Because like, nobody wanted it.
I had big titties in the Jessica Simpson, Daisy Duke era. So it's just like you're built like an upside down triangle where it's just like a big chest and like nothing else. And, I looked like that because I was a teenager. Like I had no other shape.
Yeah, right.
Because I was fucking 13.
You're just like filling out at that point.
Yeah.
Fucking relax.
It was real awkward.
I've realized that just you talking about Mr. Liz complimenting your abs reminded me like how insecure I've been about my legs for so long. And then my ex would always compliment my legs like a lot, which was always like the best. But then I was always like, you're only complimenting this because you know that I hate them. I was like in that mindset. And then I was like, you don't fucking mean it. You're just fucking saying it because you know that I need to hear it. And then it was like detrimental, which is so fucked up. Like you can get in so much negative self-talk that like any compliment feels like a dig.
Yeah.
Like you get into that mindset. Now I'm just like, just accept a fucking compliment, Amelia.
I don't like when people compliment my boobs, if they're men specifically, I guess. Because I remember when I had gone on a date, like probably a few months before us starting this podcast, but I went on a date and I didn't realize like my shirt was kind of like showing a lot of my chest. It was a new shirt and I couldn't like quite find the right bra to go with it. And I like made a comment about like, oh, my bra keeps poking out. And then because I was just like kept pulling it up. And then he was like, yeah, I noticed that you have big boobs. And I'm just like,
cool. I do? Like, what the fuck?
Wow.
What a stupid fucking thing to say.
Did you remember anything I said or but
I hate that.
I do love, like, I love them because they're part of me, but now the older I get, my back fucking hurts.
Oh, I've heard that happens.
So much. Like, my whole back, like my upper and lower back are just in constant strain. So my mom actually had breast reduction.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When I was in high school.
Wow.
So I have always thought about it, and I think I'm going to make it my 2022 goal to get breast reduction.
Really? How much smaller do you want to go, do you know?
I want to be almost flat chested. I want like when I see you like not wearing a bra, I'm like, that fucking bitch. I want that. I just want to be a bitch really with no bra. Yeah. I want like little B-size baby girls.
Yeah. It is like a good handful.
Yeah, you have like the perfect size, I think.
Thank you. If you want my bra size, I'll write it down for you.
Oh, okay. I'll take it to
your
plastic
doctor.
Surgeon. Yeah. But I'm gonna look into the process of getting my insurance to cover it.
That's a good idea because it is for health reasons.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, there's not much else they could tell me to do because, like, if I lost more weight,
you don't know.
No,
you're gonna disintegrate.
I cannot lose more weight,
which is usually like the advice that they give. Like, well, have you tried losing weight? Well, that's not always the fucking case. Genetics are a thing, fucking moron.
So anyway, I'm gonna try and get my insurance to cover it.
I think that's a great idea,
and it'll take a little while, but it'll save me a lot of money.
It's one of those things that I feel like whenever you say you want to get like a breast reduction or like implants, people are always like feel the need to tell you that you shouldn't do it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, thank you, but it is my body, it's like, well, why? Or like try to give you advice, and it's like, I live with this all the time. I have thought of this day in and day out. Nothing you say is going to change my mind about it. So when you first told me that you were thinking about doing this,
you're like, what?
Yeah, I was like, really? You know? Because like you do a good job of like, you don't feel like it doesn't seem like they're in your way. You know what I mean? Like you dress I feel like a lot of people that either like have bigger boobs or smaller boobs don't dress like in a way that accentuates it well, you know? Like they're like falling out, or like I was having a problem for a while where like no dress that I was buying was fitting up here right because my hips are so enormous that like it was like really loose up here, you know what I mean? So like I've never noticed that it's bothered you until you said something to me about it. Like we've never talked about it.
I guess I've never like, it's something I've always thought, but I've never like felt the reason to tell people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want breast reduction.
Right. We just talk about everything. So.
It also sucks because like I am trying to make sure like I don't feel like this because of how my mom has made me feel growing up.
That makes sense.
But also from her, I've talked to my therapist about this. From her perspective, I'm sure she's like trying to protect me because my adult mother knows that people are fucking creeps.
Yeah.
So she, you know, I remember her telling me this. She's told me this story so many times. Like when I was in, I don't know, 7th or 8th grade, she took me to Starbucks and we ran into like one of my brother's like soccer teammates, like a random guy's dad. And she was like, it was really weird because he was only talking to you and he was not talking to me. And like, I'm the parent, I'm the adult. Why are you talking to my like teenage daughter?
Yeah.
You know, again, 13, 14. There's no fucking reason any adult man needs to be friends with a 14-year-old girl.
No.
Or like try and pal around with a 14-year-old.
That was like Cassie on Euphoria, like when she started growing up, that whole like showing her growing up and all of like the family friends and the uncles. Related
to that.
Yeah. It's just how it is. It's disgusting.
Creepy. Yeah. You're like, wow, you're growing up to be such a beautiful girl, and you're like,
cool.
Cool. Well, will you tell the boys in my class that?
Yeah.
You fucking weirdo.
Really interesting to see. I'm sure that it's not just women that have this problem, but like I feel like we always want the opposite of what we have. Like I always wanted,
like if you have curly hair, you want straight hair.
I always wanted bigger boobs. I've made peace with mine. Like I don't know, I like my boobs, but like for a while I was like, you know, like really like scooping, you know, so I would like have a lot of cleavage, and like all of my friends that have bigger boobs were like, no, it hurts over here.
It's painful. One of my first experiences in like, I was on a dance team in high school, and it was like not through my school. But there was a girl on my team who was like, this is going to be weird, but can I touch your boobs? And I was like, I guess. And then she lifted them up, and I was like, oh my God, I could float away. And then it was like her letting go of them. I was like, this is the most this is what depression is. Like, this is the first moment I've experienced depression. And there's been like, sometimes I'll ask Mr. Liz to lift them up like that, because it feels so nice to just like to not have that strain on your back when you have it every single day.
Wow. See, that's something I would have never thought of.
Now I'm just daydreaming about like having tiny boobs. It's going to be so nice. It'll be so fun. I'm going to wear the sluttiest clothes ever. It's not like I don't wear slutty clothes because I have big boobs. It's that they don't fit right.
Right. That's what I mean. Is that's because you haven't like worn clothes that look like they don't fit right on you. So I just never realized it was something you wanted to do.
Also, I just love a baggy shirt.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like a baggy crop top.
Oh, yeah.
Something about it.
Solid.
But just like working out and doing jump squats, I'm like, ugh.
Oh, yeah. You have to have like high compression sports bras, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They have to be strapped down. Just fucking strapped down. But
oh man. Well, I'm looking forward to like hearing your what you find in your research and like when you decide to do it and where you decide to do it. I have a good plastic surgeon.
Ooh, okay. Well, if I can get my insurance to
He's the one
start
that does my
working
Botox
for me. But I keep getting like served on my For You page like women who got breast reductions, and I'm just like, God damn, that could be me someday.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice that we're like both on like opposite sides. Like you're happy with the size of your boobs.
Yeah.
Like that's such a good place to be.
Mm-hmm. I've just had to come to the point where like I have had to like make friends with my body. Mm-hmm. I mean, for like a lot of reasons. Like the turning point for me was the night before my 25th birthday was like the last time that I really took like a nosedive in like my like body dysmorphia shit, because I stepped on a scale, which God, the worst idea ever. And I had gained like 15 pounds from the last time I stepped on a scale, which was like a year prior. And I like really took a nosedive. But like since then it's been just like a climb up of just like everything. Like this is so fucking cheesy and cliche, but like our bodies do such incredible shit for us, you know? And like I was scrutinizing like every single part of my body for so long. But it's like if I like kind of
been there,
like a part of my body, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like cute. I like really work on like, no, I'm gonna like love that part of my body because it's supposed to be that way. I mean, I could work out like at least once in my life.
I like that you're conscious about it though. Like you make a conscious choice to focus dedicating like love to this part of your body.
Yeah.
I notice when I'm like in a really like if I'm insecure about something else, I'll hyper focus on my looks and get really nitpicky about how I look.
Because it's like the thing that you can like fix or like, you know, quickly fix.
Yeah, you can kind of control.
Yeah, you can like see the change in it.
It was way more obvious in my early 20s, and I just went through like a hair coloring phase. Like my hair was constantly a different color. So
you know what I think too? It was that, and you saying that just reminded me. Like I was changing who I was appearance wise based on what I thought my ex wanted me to be.
Yeah.
So I was like dyeing my hair like purple, blue, pink. Like I pierced my nose. I loved my nose pierced, but I got it because of him. I was like dressing
differently. Doesn't it still go in?
Halfway. It doesn't go all the way through.
I was about to be so excited.
Pierced again, honestly, because like
I love a good nose ring.
They're so cute. I just loved mine. It just closed up so fast. But like I don't know, it's tough because I feel like all of this like body positivity and like loving yourself stuff online is pretty toxic because it seems very like overnight when it's presented that way, and it isn't. Like this has been, it took me 27 years to be friends with my body, you know, and it's not gonna take that long for everybody, obviously. But like it's not an overnight thing. I think that the body positivity movement has kind of like had a reverse effect in a lot of ways, because people are like, I love how I look, and like, but you know, there are people that are out there that are like doing really, really good work. Like Tess Holiday, she's fucking phenomenal, and like she like really owns it, and she talks about her struggles with it, and that's good. And then there's people that are just like, I like my friend that we were with on Saturday did that TikTok video that was like bodies that look like this also look like this, like making fun of that like trend.
Yeah, where it's like when I'm bloated after eating, sometimes my pants are tighter.
It's just like, what? So then that shows like if you don't look like that and they're insecure, then you should also be insecure. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes, and that's obviously, I'm just like speaking from my own experience, but like I'll see those posts and I'm just like, what? Like you think that is fat?
Oh, I'll reflect on just like how unhealthy I was in college and like my early 20s. In college, I gained weight from drinking a lot and from my birth control. It made me super bloated. Just like I had such a round face. So I was just not happy with how I looked. But also like after that, like just the extremes I would go to try and like crash diet my way into like I remember my freshman year of college, I was like, I'm gonna go on a liquid diet.
Holy shit.
And I was only eating soup and drinking smoothies.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And then I was counting calories. And like also like I think I lost weight my freshman year of college from walking everywhere. So the freshman 15 didn't exist for me. Same. It was just like walking everywhere and fucking eating soup. And I don't even know where I got that like I should do that. But everything was focused
Society.
on like having a little tummy, and have never had like, I've literally never had abs. The abs I have now are barely abs, and I worked very hard for the teeny tiny lines I have. But also I didn't do that because I was like, I'm gonna finally accomplish the body I want. It was more like I am so sad, and I need to have some sort of physical activity that is challenging to like keep me motivated.
It's a good way to feel like you're in control of something, because a lot of the reason
that's exactly why I liked it.
A lot of people that struggle with eating disorders, not everybody, but a lot of people do it because it's like the one thing that they can control in their day is how much food they're taking in. And so like to have the opposite effect of like, I'm really sad and I feel a little like chaotic, I need to like exercise, is like such a good reason to exercise. I don't know, this is such a tough conversation to have because
we're
like
kind of, this was unplanned.
Yeah,
this like body dysmorphia, eating disorder. I think this definitely warrants like another episode dedicated 100%. To talking about like body dysmorphia and eating disorders, because I didn't realize like how fucked up my mindset was at those developmental ages until now, until I like more recently I'm reflecting on it like, oh fuck, that was like not a healthy way of thinking or like treating my body.
I know. It's in the moment it doesn't feel like it's like something bad, you know, because it's like, nope, this is good for me and I'm going to be skinny and I'm going to be healthy, and like it's like, no, like hold on. It's like not a good way to talk to yourself.
Also, like being skinny doesn't mean that you're healthy, so.
Right. It's just
talk about that.
It doesn't say anything. It's just the outward appearance. When I've said this on the podcast before, but like when I was like sick and like not eating, I was getting all of these compliments on how I looked, and that became an addiction for me. I was like, oh my God. And then when I stopped getting them, I took like another nosedive because I was like, oh my God, I need to stop eating again. But I was sick when I was skinny. So it's just like, it's so, my therapist, this is like not a good example of this because we just had a whole discussion about it, but I was talking to my therapist about it and she was like, what happens if you just don't engage in those conversations? She's like, if somebody is like complimenting someone's body, just don't say anything and see what happens. And I was like, okay, but like that's not going to change anything because I'm still hearing it. But once I stopped engaging in those conversations around me, like, oh my God, so-and-so looks so good, she like lost so much weight, and I just don't say anything, it actually helped a lot with my relationship with my own body, not
That's
engaging
really
in those conversations. Yeah. I feel like we should throw a trigger warning in the beginning of this. In the beginning of this episode.
I wanted to also follow up on like a few things from the last couple of weeks.
Ooh.
So it has come to my attention that the girl who is/was in love with Mr. Liz is listening to the podcast. Amelia put her hand over her mouth in shock. Mr. Liz doesn't listen to the podcast because everything I say on here he's already heard.
Yeah.
So one of his friends from his hometown listens to the podcast, and she like hit him up and was like, hey, I want to listen to like this other girl's podcast where she's like talking shit about you. And he's like, okay, hold on. And he texted me and he's like, hey, what episode was that? And then I like went to go pull it up and she deleted it. She deleted the podcast from SoundCloud. And the only reason I can think that she did that is because she's listening. And I want to clarify that she did not copy my hair. That was actually someone else.
That was my bad.
I was getting my stories mixed up.
I was the one that called that out. There's just so many people that want to look like you.
Because if I were her, I'd be like, I fucking didn't. So, you know, girl, I see that I know you did not copy my hair, but the podcast thing was a little strange. But I did re-listen because I don't want to be mean. Like I don't have any personal beef with this girl, and like I wanted to make sure what I was saying was respectful and not like being true to myself, because like I can't lie and say like these things didn't bother me. So I still stand by what I said. Yeah.
I mean, you really didn't say anything. No, you were just telling the story.
Yeah, it's just this podcast is about our lives.
Right. We're just going to talk about how, yeah.
But I told Mr. Liz, I was like, I did not think she'd be listening.
What did he say?
And he was like, it's not surprising to me.
No.
And then I was like, why would she be listening though? Like, homegirl's got her own life. Yeah. And like, she is dating someone else. Like,
maybe she's not even spite listening. Maybe she just loves the podcast.
That's true. Maybe she does love the podcast.
It is a great podcast.
I was thinking she's probably like hate listening. And then I started thinking like, we probably have hate listeners that we don't even know about.
Oh, I hope we do.
Who do you think would be hate listening for you?
But I feel like my ex probably does from time to time.
Do you think that his
new girlfriend?
Yeah.
No. I think that she couldn't give less shits about me, honestly, which is fine. I don't like her.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. But I don't like him more, you know? So like, I feel like I don't really matter to her at all, which is fine. Then that's good. And that's a secure place to be. I could be wrong.
Maybe.
But it's a secure place to be. So whatever, fucking good for her. My ex, this was like, the podcast was kind of like a final nail in the coffin for him. So.
Oh yeah. I remember he was like, he took it personally that your podcast is doing well.
You want to know why though?
because he had a podcast? Did he have a podcast?
No. Oh my God, no. Ugh, I don't even know what the fuck that would be about. Sorry.
How to cheat on your girlfriend?
Yeah. With
still
your ex.
Get caught, yeah.
Still get caught. How to get caught cheating on your girlfriend with your ex-girlfriend. It's a long podcast title. You'd have to cut that down. He mentioned, like, we had connected. This was like when we first started talking again. Yeah, because he slid back in June, and that's when we started the podcast. So he had started started following me on Instagram again, and like saw that we had a podcast, and he made a comment about it, and he was like, I know I probably shouldn't listen because it's like sex related, so like I don't really want to know what you're doing. And I was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't, but like, you know, if it's any consolation, I don't talk about you, because at that point I hadn't.
Yeah.
And then like the next day he was like, oh, okay, ha ha ha, totally understand. The next day he was pissed because the more and more he thought about it, he was like just really upset that I was like publicly doing this. He was upset about Bachelor Live on Stage because I was like publicly doing that. I'm like, you're in a whole ass fucking relationship.
He was mad you're just like living your life.
Yeah.
You're doing things that you couldn't do when he was dragging you down.
I'm like, you're the one that didn't want to be with me. If you're so pressed about it, then fucking do something about it, dude. Yeah. And I'm glad that he didn't, because I was thinking today how different my life would be if we never got back together.
If we got this podcast.
I don't think, well,
I mean, if it would have fizzled out.
God, that's so fucking sad to think about.
I'm glad it didn't.
I know, me too.
I don't even want to think about it.
Me neither. Let's not. Bye. Say goodbye to that thought.
Anyways, this is just a little memo for our hate listeners. You know, I guess, hey, thanks for listening.
Hey.
I don't know. I've like, our hate listeners haven't gone out of their way to like be rude, so. Shifting gears here, the other topic I wanted to kind of like expand on a little bit, we had briefly talked about over the weekend. This is Amelia's third day in a row seeing me. I'm surprised you haven't been just like, bitch, get out of my apartment.
Literally not at all.
We were talking about, so everyone knows, or everyone has discussions around like the friend zone and men who are friends with women specifically to wait to get out of or like their goal is to like get you to like them. But there's another dynamic that I don't feel like is discussed enough, of like where they're not outwardly seeking dating you. They don't say that they're in the friend zone or feel that way, but you know you're the one in control of your friendship with them. Like if you were the one to pursue a relationship with them, they'd be like, fuck yeah, all on board, you know? So it's not like they're necessarily like nice guys waiting to be picked, but I mean, I guess that's kind of what it is.
I guess.
It's not as obvious. It's not like if you dated someone and they'd be like, oh, what, I wasted all this time for you for what? Like,
right.
They don't do that. They still like want to be your friend, but if you were like, hey, I want to date you, they'd be like, hell yeah. So,
it's like Gordo from Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah, just waiting.
Yeah. just
around,
kind of secretly in love with you, but like there to be your friend.
And this is the thing about that one of the things I adore about Mr. Liz is he has a lot of friendships with women, which initially like can cause a little bit of like discomfort because you're like, oh, what's like the motive here? Because we're all used to being around a bunch of fucking idiots that that are just kind of up to no good when you're not around.
Yep.
So I like was a little uneasy, but then when I see him interacting with them and meet them myself, I realized like Mr. Liz is genuinely a friend to these women. Yeah. So there is no ulterior motive. And like it'd be a scenario where if they were like, hey, I have feelings for you, he'd be like, what? I don't feel the same. So that's always comforting to know too. Definitely. Of just like because that's how we operate. Yeah. In our friendships with men of like, if you know, it's just a friendship. It's how I would show up for any other friend like that I have. So I don't know. Where
it gets messy is I've had friendships with guys in the past where it's been like a forbidden kind of thing, you know, but like we're both into each other, but like it can't happen. And then when that like inevitably falls apart and gets messy, you can't stay friends with them. So like even if you become really, really good friends with them and then that falls apart, you can't stay friends with them. And like that's not like a rule of thumb. You can't, it's just like when I like love somebody, it's like game over, you know what I mean? Because it like takes a lot. So like I can't stay friends with them because of that. So I think that I have this protective barrier up with my guy friends that I care about, where like I mean I care about all my guy friends, but like my really close guy friends where I'm like, we're not even gonna like entertain the idea of that happening. I have one of my guy friends, you know those like marriage packs, like if we're both single by 40. Yeah. I have one of those set up right now. And like we actively talk about our prenup and shit. And like in those situations, it's like he's somebody that I would marry. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's him, boop, boop, you know. But like the idea of like exploring that now, like in like a relationship sense, is like I don't want to risk the friendship. You know? Yeah. So I think that I'm like extra protective with my male friendships.
That makes sense. In high school, I was always. Those were like my only guy friends were the ones waiting for me to date them.
Oh, God, what a flex.
And believe it or not, we are not friends.
Yeah, wow.
To this day.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So, and that always, like, it sucked the older I get thinking about it. Like, those were most of my friendships in high school were these guys that I thought were funny. And like I wanted to just hang out with them and do fun stuff, and then inevitably they like confess their love for me, and I'd be like, you're a good friend.
Yep. Thanks.
And then they'd be mad
because you like, owe it to them.
Yeah. Like I just don't feel the same way.
It's so messy. It's so messy.
I think that's just and thinking about it now too, I'm like, I was so ugly.
Oh my God.
I just like had such a crazy, I need to like dig up some old pictures. I had such a crazy makeup routine. Like my thing was putting on a bold bright eyeshadow and then black ends on the
that was
eyeshadow.
Such a look at the time though.
And fallout from the eyeshadow, who cares? It was still there. It was there.
Yep, that's intentional.
Just a shit ton of eyeliner in and around my eyes.
It really was such a thing back in the day.
Yeah, cover your lips with like some concealer a little bit, and then some lip gloss.
It's just so bad. I used to only put eyeliner on my bottom lid. I was one of those.
Yeah.
And then
me too.
Didn't know how to do eyeshadow. Just didn't. Thought that you curled your lashes after you put mascara on. That was a rude awakening. You don't.
No.
You can once it's dried.
Yeah, yeah.
But then if it's still wet, it gets all over the place. It's it's a mess. Yeah, it's interesting to think about like how much makeup has changed. Even you know what's interesting is looking at what the Kardashians were doing like 10 years ago, because they were like on top of it and they look ridiculous now. You know?
Also, I'm getting sad just like thinking about how unfun becoming an adult woman is.
Don't even get me started, but
it's just
Go
not
ahead.
fun.
No.
It's like guys get to like shave for the first time, and like it just seems so much more fun and interesting. And for girls, it's like, yeah, so now pedophiles are gonna start hitting on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I'm 11 and I don't understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get your period.
Ugh, yeah.
But you were excited, weren't you, to get your period?
I was until fucking Maddie told everyone in my health class.
Oh, that's right. Fucking Maddie.
She's enemy of the pod numero dos is Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I was pretty fucking hyped to get my period, but it was still a nightmare because I was in pain all the time and I didn't know what to do with it.
I was never happy, man.
Wow.
You know what? Do us a favor and hug your local women. Give them just a hug. They need it.
Yeah, we talked about tugging your bros in and giving them a kiss last week.
Yeah.
Consensually hug the women around you.
Yeah.
Just say, I appreciate what you've been through.
Hug the ladies in your life.
I appreciate what you've been into.
We're really tired. We received a listener email from someone on our Patreon, and I just wanted to read her message because it made me feel a lot better. And it's just, it was a nice message to receive. And I have been receiving like more and more messages from women who are also struggling with high-risk HPV scares. Wow. Because it is scary, and it's just nice to know that we're not alone. Mm-hmm. So I'm really happy that everyone is using this as an opportunity, like, to not feel isolated. Yeah. And to also like reach out to me and share how they're feeling and what their experience has been so far. It's just nice to have a community around it because it is a hard thing to talk about.
I feel very isolating, I'm sure.
So this is for all of my HPV girlies. Listener story here to hopefully make you feel a little better. I have had half of my cervix cut out during a LEAP procedure. Same thing, highest risk HPV in my early 30s, and I still got a surprise pregnancy about 2 years afterwards, if that makes you, your mom, feel any better about the potential of having kids in the future. Side note, I had my son at 35, which the doctors constantly are referred to as advanced maternal age.
Good Lord.
But I joked to my friends it was a geriatric pregnancy. I was laughing so hard when I read that. Amazing. Anyway, I also had several panic attacks when I was told I had precancerous HPV. Totally normal to feel that way. It's a scary thing even if it's hopefully easily resolved. I haven't had an abnormal pap since the LEAP was done in 2016, so I guess my doctor did a good job cutting that shit out of me. Also, the LEAP recovery wasn't bad at all for me. I laid in bed for one day watching House Hunters, wasn't in much pain or discomfort at all. Yay, drugs. Here's hoping the same easy road to recovery for you. Thank you for being a great podcast. I'm a huge fan and look forward to each new episode. XOXO, your geriatric millennial listener.
I love that.
But it was a really comforting email to read. And as an update, my doctor did follow up with me because I asked her like what some next steps are, and because she hadn't like reached out to me yet. But she wants me to do a LEAP procedure, which is going to be less intrusive.
Thank God you didn't tell me that.
It happened like yesterday.
That's awesome. That's such great news.
And she wants me to go into the operating room, and she said not because of the procedure, but because you'll be more comfortable. And I was like, I love that these people know that I am a basket case. But I followed up with her to ask if I could go under general anesthesia.
Oh, good.
Just because I know myself well enough to know that if I am conscious for this, I'm going to like ruminate on it. And I just don't want to have like an emotional attachment to something that is necessary for my health, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to like mull on this.
Totally.
So I just want to be unconscious for it.
Yeah.
And then I want to wake up and be done.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll do that because a lot of the time, because anesthesia can be so risky.
Really?
Yeah. They usually only give you anesthesia if you like really need it.
Oh.
That's why they like don't put you under for like colonoscopies and endoscopies.
Maybe they'll give me some maybe they'll give me 2 Ativan instead.
I was gonna
of
say
1.
you could give you more.
Like they gave me Ativan, but I would like 2 this time, just knowing the level of freak out I might have.
I'm glad that you get to do that instead of the cone biopsy.
Me too. But if I did have to get a cone biopsy, I would have to be put
right.
under.
I remember you saying that.
So that's just a little update there. And then we do have a listener email that we recently received.
The subject line is sex and shame. Hi, Amelia and Liz. She says her names and her pronouns are she, her, hers. I want to start by saying how much I appreciate both of you and how candid you are on this podcast. You are both so thoughtful in what you say, and I truly feel like I'm sitting there having conversations with my friends while listening to the podcast. That's exactly what we want. I discovered the pod through Amelia's TikToks, and Amelia was even kind enough to do a couple cameos for me when I was going through some hard times. Oh, now that I see your name, I remember doing that. Oh, good. I'm so happy that could have helped you. I watch them when I'm feeling sad, and they always make me feel so much better.
Aww.
That's really, really sweet. I love you. Okay, moving on. Not gonna get mushy. I have recently started dating a man who I truly think is my soulmate. He is kind, patient, understanding, and he also goes to therapy, which means so much to me as a woman who has dated many men who absolutely should be in therapy. Real
word.
I truly feel like there is nothing I can't tell him most of the time. There is one thing that I am struggling with to talk about, though. We have recently gotten into choking, spanking, and some things that are a little spicier than what I have normally gone for, and I love it in the moment. I have crazy orgasms from them every time, and then after we are done, I am silently suffering from intense feelings of shame. He always kisses me and snuggles me when we are done, and tells me how much he loves me, but it takes me a while to be able to make eye contact with him, and I just feel really self-conscious for a while after we have sex. I always feel dirty and used, and not in a sexy way, but I love it in the moment. I go to a male therapist who is wonderful, but I feel weird talking to him about my sex life, so I don't want to go to him with this. And I know you're not therapists, and I don't expect you to help me solve this problem, but I'm curious if either of you have ever gone through something like this. It doesn't make sense to me, as I do love it while it's happening. Maybe I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be. I am notoriously hard on myself, so I'm sure that doesn't help when it comes to my sex life. Okay, at the bottom she said, even if this note doesn't make it onto the pod, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you. I have just recently had my big epiphany where I began to truly love myself more than I ever have before, and I'm positive that you too and this podcast contributed to it along with all the work I did. And Lexapro and Wellbutrin.
Hell yeah.
Yes, we love drugs. Thank you, ladies, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for writing in. First of all, love you so much. Second of all, yes, I have gone through something similar.
Yeah.
I'll let you comment on it first.
I think that it's normal that as I always say, like, as women, but seriously, being a girl, being raised as a girl around sex, like the introductions we have to sex, it's no wonder that we feel ashamed about it. And then when it comes to things like our own pleasure and enjoyment, like, it seems to me that this shame, sure, it does maybe come from like what you're actually doing, but it's also because it is so pleasurable for you. I think that there's probably something there about as from a young age, we're just like, it's not about our pleasure. It never is. And then when that's the thing I do love about BDSM, and I was thinking about that recently, is that it is so intertwined with women's pleasure.
Yes.
It is focused on being pleasurably fulfilling for your partner, so like whatever end you're on. So that's why it's so enjoyable, is because you get the focus, like you get focus.
Yeah.
And if you're your first sexual experiences are probably not going to be as fun. I think it's more common that they're not going to be fun, which is so sad to say. Like, your first experience having sex is always going to be about the other person, and it's not about your pleasure.
Yeah.
Because young men are stupid as fuck.
Facts.
Yeah, they're dumb. Maybe they're less dumb now, but they were when I was a teenager.
Every man that I know would agree with that statement.
Yeah,
I was a fucking idiot when I was young.
Yeah, they're way better now. Even Mr. Liz was a fucking idiot. So I think, like, feeling ashamed after after having sex, especially if it's kinky sex. I think that's so normal. But I think another really important piece of this is like, if you believe he's your soulmate, you need to talk to him about this.
For sure.
Because that's like, clearly he is aware that aftercare is important and he is trying to give that to you. And you need to like be able to have an open discussion about what kind of aftercare you need. And you can only start to open that can of worms like if you're going to address it with him. Like, hey, I struggle after we're done having sex because I feel like a blanket of shame.
Mm-hmm.
And I think no one's going to be able to help you through this more than he will. Because he's participating in it with you, you know?
And he clearly cares how you're feeling afterward.
Yeah, and it's also always nice to have that confirmation from your partner, like someone that you love and loves you, to just be able to have this open dialogue and know that you can trust them and not be afraid of what they're going to say, because he's going to support you no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you also want to get deep into this and pick apart your brain, start thinking about what about it makes you feel ashamed.
Yeah.
Like, is it the act? Is it like what like, admit to yourself, what is the narrative you're telling yourself here? Like, oh, I am a slut because I like these things that are spicy.
Yeah.
They're taboo. And what's wrong with being a slut? What does that mean?
Yeah.
If you do enjoy this, what does that mean about you? And then that's when, once you start asking yourself those questions, that's when you can get to the root of it and realize like those things that you've been taught aren't true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not going to go away overnight.
Mm-mm.
I mean, maybe it will. That'd be cool. But don't be mad at yourself if it doesn't.
I agree with everything that you just said, obviously. And you have experience with BDSM that I don't. From a perspective of like someone that's like dabbling, I think that this maybe has kind of a similar thing with like when you're like watching porn and then after you come, it's like what the
porn
fuck?
shame.
Yeah, it's like the post nut clarity of just like, oh my god, this was really hot to me like 10 seconds ago and now I'm like really like not feeling great about it. It might be the same kind of thing. I think that there's also a piece when you feel really, really comfortable with someone and then you like dabble in something new with them that's like kinky and like putting you out of your comfort zone. There might be some like shame is like a great word for it, and like embarrassment maybe of like, oh my god, you were just like slapping me around 10 seconds ago and now we're like cuddling. Like it's
shame's a huge motivator for a lot of feelings. Like so many of the bad feelings you have in general, and not even you specifically, I mean every human. So many of the bad feelings you have are so deeply rooted in shame, and that was what my therapist and I talked about for like the first year of therapy.
Shame.
Oh yeah. And it's once you're able to confront that, like why you feel ashamed for something and that it is the root of so many bad feelings, it becomes so much easier to deal with. Because if we didn't experience the feeling of shame, we'd be running wild.
Yeah.
So in this instance, shame is not protecting you. So that's why you need to start breaking it down. Because if this is someone that you trust and you love and loves you and is kind to you, there's nothing to be ashamed of,
and
you know?
Right. And like he, like Liz was saying, clearly cares about how you're feeling afterward and like is putting like emphasis on aftercare, and like he's doing that to make sure that you're feeling okay after all of those interactions. So like being able to, I know that it's like that's such a difficult conversation to have. Like I feel, how can you have the conversation like I love this and I feel shameful afterward? Like that's a difficult thing to balance. But those drops, as we've talked about before, are so common. And like
subdrop,
biologically based because of brain chemistry. So it's like you're you're not alone in feeling this. It's just like figuring out how to navigate it is the piece of it, and being able to talk to your partner about it, who sounds fantastic and sounds like he really cares about how you're feeling, I think is going to take away a lot of the power that it has too.
Totally.
Because you're probably, this has been in your head, and like every time it happens, you're now expecting it to happen. And so like it gives it all this power. So just like, I think once you start having that conversation, it's just going to flow and you're going to feel better.
I highly recommend looking at the BDSM advice on Reddit, because you just reminded me, like, having a drop after like doing kinky stuff is super common. So if you look into like sub drops after having sex or having kinky sex or something, like it, because your adrenaline is rushing, and then you just have this like drop afterwards. That's why aftercare is a thing. So, and
doms need it too. And that's probably maybe him
doms
taking care of you.
Have a drop too.
Him taking care of you might be him managing his own shame with it too. You don't know. And I think if you open up that conversation, you'll probably learn a lot.
And he can't give you the aftercare you need if he doesn't know. So that's why having an open conversation, even if it is uncomfortable, but you will realize, like, once you start talking about it, you're gonna feel so much better. But this reminded me that I struggled with having drops afterwards as well. At first, like when we first started dating, before we got as comfortable as we are with each other now. So what you're experiencing is especially normal for what you are participating in. But the BDSM advice subreddit will be super helpful to just click around and explore when it comes to looking into like drops and like what kind of aftercare might work for you. The people on that subreddit are so smart and caring and kind. They're very open-minded and like patient with each other. It's just like a really great type of people in that subreddit, and I think you'll be able to find more like hands-on advice of like things you could actually apply, because you know we only know what you're experiencing based on your email, but some of the things you might come across will be more specific to what you're experiencing as well. That like they'll have like actual advice of like, oh, here's what you can do because it works for me. Or, you know?
Yeah. That's such a great resource to have. Not just like reading like this like indirect like for like article, you know, you like have a forum to have conversations on. It makes such a difference.
I love searching, like just in general, if I'm trying to find something specific, I'll search whatever in Google and then add Reddit on the end, and you'll find way more helpful advice and stuff that way than just searching on Google.
I love that. That's a good pro tip.
It is time for a sex fact of the week.
Thank you. All right. A strong sense of smell makes you more orgasmic. A small study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior found that people with more perceptive noses also had better sexual experiences. Women who had a strong sensitivity to odors also reported enjoying more orgasms than women whose noses weren't as sharp. The researchers found that sense of smell wasn't necessarily linked to sexual desire or performance in the bedroom, but there was a positive correlation between a heightened sense of smell and having more pleasurable sex as well as more frequent orgasms. This suggests that body odors like vaginal fluids and sweat can enhance sexual experience.
Interesting.
Fascinating. We are all just a pocket of flesh with a bunch of senses.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird description.
But am I wrong?
No. All right.
Well, thanks for listening.
And we will see you, beautiful angels, next week.
We love you so much.
Goodbye.
We love you, our children. You're not going to harmonize with me today? Are you over it?
Something.
Well, I know, but like, what, you just going to leave me alone in the band?
We love you, our children.
You're like, I'm not arguing about this. Let's just fucking do it. Beautiful. See? Amazing.